Okay, Shalom Aleichem. It is my honor and my schus to be sitting here in Dacha. As you see how beautiful it is, with a chashuv, a rav, a dayan, or a sheshiva. Maybe we should start a shliach first. And in Shulchan Aruch Taka says that in Chodesh Nisan and in Chodesh Tishrei, Erev Shabbos, Yom Tif, and Shabbos you don't do dinim. But on Dacha, Shteiknish, you don't do dinim. Well, I personally know that during the summer, Rabbi Winner is involved in dinim. And Hayosta, part of our program, we learn in Yonim and Chayshim Mishpat. So I thought I'll take advantage of having a couple of moments to speak to Rabbi Zusha Winner. I almost said Rabbi Moshe Winner. Rabbi Zusha Winner to discuss some of the Yonim from Olam HaMachshava, from Olam HaTorah down to Olam Ad Halacha L'Maisa, to see how the Talmidim that are learning with us now, Ad Talmidim Haboam Achreyan, to see how to bring this all L'Olam HaMaisa. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Rabbi Winner, for giving us the time. And if you want to open the conversation, or you want to discuss some things that you feel most important, there's so many details, so many pratim that I don't even know where to begin. If you think you would like to start.
Well, first of all, I think it's very commendable that they are young light, that are learning Chayshim Mishpat. Chayshim Mishpat, Dinim Omenes B'chlal, as a Reitzel Hachkim, Yasik B'Dinim Omenes. So it's a very chelik chashav in Torah. And that's why the yeshivas throughout the centuries, they emphasize the limud of Basra, of Metzia, and in general Nezikin. It's also interesting, Chassidim, the Gemara says, what is Chassid, what is Mila de Chassidusa? So there's three opinions. One is Avos, Nezikin, and Brachas. So this is it's something for Chassidim. Also, Nezikin, of course, is more of a Musardik approach to be careful of other person's money, etc., etc. But Chayshim Mishpat is a very important aspect of halacha, and I think it's going to be more and more important in the future because a lot of people have shilas and dinim omenes, and even if you're not a dayan, if you understand well how shilas and dinim omenes work, it prevents a lot of problems. You may avoid it in Torah or work in a certain way that will prevent arguments.
So let's summarize in a nutshell. The Eshta Kabul Samarim, Shulchan Aruch says that the Bati Dinim today only, because Shul Chasayid the Rabbanan, we basically only judge, if you could use the word judge, Chsar and Kiss and Matzoi. Let's summarize that, please. Which cases do come up? Chsar and Kiss and Matzoi.
Yes, since we don't have a Sanhedrin, there's a limitation to the power of a Bezdin. And this is taka an issue. Also, some people have tightness to a Bezdin. The courts have more power to enforce a psak din because they're backed. Sometimes the bottom line is by police who come with a gun and a marshal who will kick out a tenant if he doesn't pay rent. Sheki go to within Torah. The Bezdin doesn't have authority to do that. But even besides that, there's Dinei Knossos,
which today we don't do.
Even though Bezdin does have a right, and it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, that if someone is Mevaza Talmud Chacham, or certain cases which communities made takonis, which go back many generations, that the Bezdin does have an authority to give a knas to someone because he was mavayish someone, for example. There are such cases, but al pi halacha, there's certain halachas that do not apply. But most dinei Torahs really have to do with chesar and kiss. Someone causes damage to someone else. Someone owes someone worked for somebody else. He owes him money, or he wants to fire him. Schiras poyalim, schiras batim, is his rent. Hasogas gvul. These are the dinei Torah that do apply today, and the Bezdin, it's within the authority of the Bezdin to paskin such shilas. So practically speaking, Dine Knossos are really halachas that logically they do not demand payment. For example, somebody steals, so halacha says you have to give back what you stole. To pay kefil, or to pay 4 times as much or 5 times as much in the tichum mechira, this is the best. The Torah decided to punish someone because he did something wrong. So the punishment aspect, we don't have a right to do that. But the aspect of the chesron that was caused, of course, we do have a right to paskin these shalos. So most shalos has to do with that type of chesron.
Okay, now in the emes and what you said about the knossim, I think if I'm not mistaken, Shulchan Aruch also says that you don't even need a bezdin for that. The Tuvei Yair could do that too. If Tuvei Yair could also paskin if somebody was mavazeh Talmud Chacham.
Yes, I mean, listen. There's this Tuvei here. There's also Gimoroi Bakar, which can also, but that's only if the parties agree to be judged by, by cowboys or Gimoroi Bakar. Literally means cowboys.
I'm not
Now you're talking about the Zion Tuvei here.
I'm not talking about necessarily a judge. I'm saying if you see, if community leaders see people stepping out of line.
But there's a big debate. What does mean Zion Tuvei here? The Rebbe used the word Zion Tuvei here for Crown Heights, for the Vadakol, but then in a private letter and an answer that the Rebbe gave to some of the Askonim, the Rebbe said that he never said that it means that they have the halachic power of Zion Tuvei, which had a very strong power in a communal sense. And really, Zion Tuvei that talks about in Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah is really a power that was given to them by government, that the Goyish government really gave over law and the penal code to the Zion Tuvei, and the Zion Tuvei gave it over to Rabbanim to be able. They used to put people in blocks and in jails in the Jewish community because the Goyim didn't want to judge Jews against Jews. They said Jewish community should take care of themselves.
But Shulchan Aruch also discusses, Rahman al-Tan, if you see somebody who is causing misbehaving, even Bachal Shabbos, I mean, this Chuba talks about, or Haitim, you see enough Mishagoyim doing crazy things, what kind of powers, leaders, Lavdafka, not everything has to fall on your shoulders as the Dayan, just community leaders. I think the Shulchan Aruch discusses that they have rights also to, you don't need to go through a Chakira Drishus even, just to put people, is that right?
Technically, there is in Shulchan Aruch that even Bizman Hazeh, if the Bezdin or the community sees...
you just said Bezdin or community? It's a big difference.
Yes, but there is a general power to do even Dinei Nefashis if things are totally getting out of hand. I would call this similar to martial law in today's world, where a mayor can declare martial law because people are looting in the streets, and because of that, they'll have people shooting against the looters, even though looting is stealing, and why should they be judged for death penalty for that? But nevertheless, sometimes when things get totally out of hand, the leadership has to take measures, and we find that they have that
I'll bring an example of
today.
something that you said today. I know that you spoke a share today, and most of your share was against the internet, which is 100% correct. And it's a terrible disease, if people know that there's a certain individual that cooked schmutz, that's not necessarily Bezdin's problem. That's community leaders' problems. Is that correct? Gafna gains to Bezdin for that? I mean, I don't know.
Well, you're touching a very sensitive situation. So every nudnik is going to become the other person's policeman.
But that's what Shulchan Aruch talks about it. Shulchan Aruch and Hilchos Dayanim talks about it. How right in the beginning, where it talks about what's this
the person is doing his own averis privately.
But the Epistle Children discusses how it affects the neighborhood.
I understand, but this is a very sensitive situation. And okay, so now if someone's selling drugs, for example, that's a different situation, which he could be a roitif because he's destroying the lives of the people who he's selling drugs to.
Correct.
But you know,
Is it a
you have to
Bezdin?
judge each case individually. You can't give a general thing. Oh, someone's saying schmutz, so he's going to tell someone else to do the schmutz, so therefore he's going to destroy the whole community.
No, I'm trying to draw the line between Bezdin and a community leader. What's the Dayan's job and what's the
Well, always a bezdin, always a community should consult with the bezdin. Always should be consulted, because what is the evidence? Who said he's doing schmutz? Is there evidence? A bezdin is trained to what is a hichocha. You have a din Torah between two parties. He owes me money. He doesn't owe me money. The bezdin has to decide what's a hichocha.
Okay.
Is this, and they could check out the edus. You know, if edus is mechayevim, is he edus? Is he an eman? Does he have a motive? Does he have a party? Is he a soina? Is he an oyev? It's you can't give clear cut. Every case has to be judged, especially if you're dealing with things which, you know, there's in the memorim of Derech Mitzvah Sechel, Tzemach Tzedek brings a case, a psychological analysis of a personality who's a kanoi, and he really is coming out against the averis of another person. So the Tzemach Tzedek says that it's very possible that this kanoi,
That's the lane.
he himself is doing. He himself hates the person, hates people. B'chlal, he's an antisocial person. Now, if he's going to go around in the shul or in the community, insulting people, which is really his inherent nature, because he's a bitter and angry person who really wants to insult everyone for no reason, so that's not going to be accepted in society. So therefore, now he has an excuse. Oh, he caught that person doing schmutz. Oh, he's coming down on him. Could be he himself, not such a big tzaddik. And his real motive is his midas rois. But now he has an excuse to express what's really his midas rois, and he's coming across like he's a kanoi who really cares about it, about evil. You know, in Tanya, the tzaddik gomer is moyes bara. So he's moyes bara. To say to somebody, an average person or even a Beinoni, that he is so against Ra that he sees and he means a total Shem Shemayim. So this is a call that I think you need other parties, you need a bezdin. In general, even the Bzman with the Tuvia, you did have power. They were Messiahs with the Rabbonim, even the Zman HaGemara. They had to be Messiahs with the Chacham here. The Tuvia had to be Messiahs with the Chacham here.
Okay, I'm trying to think about I'll say there are simonim. A younger man will come over to Rabbi Winner and say, Rabbi Winner, ich tracht lernen Hilchos Dayanim, but b'lashon HaShulchan Aruch, it's a lashon HaPasuk, ma li ol tzara azois. Why should I do it? Why? Was soll ich lernen Hilchos Dayanim? Besides for the Chachmas HaTorah. Was darf ich, I mean, I know the Shechina Sher B'Yisrael when you cause the Shalom.
First of all, this is it's possible that the most important reason to learn Hilchos Dayanim because it's a chelik chashuv and Torah, and that should be really the primary reason, not the Hikari Rav. That would be Torah Shalei Lishma. Torah Lishma is taka to learn Hilchos Dayanim. It's not only Hilchos Dayanim, it's Hilchos Chesed Mishpat that this is about. It's a chelik chashuv b'Torah, but also I think it's important, even balabatim, to know as much Chesed Mishpat that they should know, because they have a better understanding. When some nudnik comes along, he lost it in Torah because he was 100% right, and he's going to start making accusations against the Rabbonim and against the Dayanim. But if he'll share his case with another person who knows a bit of Chesed Mishpat, who even tasted Chesed Mishpat, he's going to set him straight. And it's usually better to set someone straight who has misperceptions about what's right and wrong in the Din Torah. It's usually easier for another balabas to set him straight than for a dayan. The Chassam Sofer had a big yeshiva, and his contract with Preshberg, the city which was a rav, was that he wants to have a yeshiva gedolah, and he did have a big yeshiva, and it reached in his time it reached almost 300 bachrim. Now the balabatim said to him, you know, when they hired him, they accepted to support a yeshiva. And it was the most important yeshiva in Hungary and even outside of Hungary. But the bottom line was, the Balabatim said, Rebbe, they said to the Chassam Sofer, There's 300 Talmidim over there. They said to him, there are no 300 towns in all over Hungary to place these 300 Talmidim to be Rabbanim. Why are we taking so much Talmidim? There's nothing what we're going to be able to do with them in Rabbanis. And Chassam Sofer answered him, his famous answer, he said, they in the yeshiva, teaching them not to be Rabbanim, necessarily to be Balabatim, who are going to support the Rabbanim. And this is something that I think is important as well, and maybe even more important than other Chalakim of Shulchan Aruch. It's very important in Hilchos Choshen Mishpat. It gives you a better understanding of the way the halacha about disputes between people is, and a person who knows it also stands better to understand, his own issues of halacha of Choshen Mishpat and issues that he may have with other people.
Okay, let's go to another big controversy. I'll tell you something that I once asked the Rav, and the answer really hurt me. I asked the Rav, somebody who was Mesadik Edition a lot, I said, were you ever Mesadik Edition? You're going to be shocked when you hear this answer. With a wealthy kala, a wealthy family, maybe as she's entering the chasna, she's taking $1 million. So in the ksuba, why wouldn't you put? Did you ever happen that you wrote in that the nichte malug, nichte tzem barzel, she $1 million, to just keep her safe in case anything happened? The answer, this specific person, who, what, when, where, it says, Abe, chas v'shon, anything's going to happen, they're anyways going to go to court. That's exactly what's mevillen doch nicht. We want to do lifnei and v'loy lifnei akum, v'loy lifnei arkos. So first of all, please set this halacha straight. How should a pashat balabas be secure that when the dayanim today are going to paskin for his favor, or hopefully for his favor or not, whatever happens, he gets. As on his dafon leifon tzarakois, milachat chila. And what's his security? I mean, obviously everybody is struggling for his financing. Two people are fighting. He's a Toyin and Nitten, and he needs his $10,000, and he's going to say to you, Rabbi Winter, how am I sure I'm going to get the $10,000? I'm going to waste my time here in court. I'm going to get. What are you going to tell this person? It's a shver
my answer is, first of all, as far as
you can tell him talking Leibishtim.
First of all, I do not have very much faith in the legal system of Erkoy Shal Akum.
You have liens.
So we can make I don't believe in the system of Erkoy Shal Akum and all about the fairness of it and so on. As far as Dinei Torah is concerned, if a person has a psak din, the Beis Din can send him to court to enforce it. The way all Batei Din work today is that the Shtar Boideris, which is the document that the two parties, the two principals of the Din Torah, they must sign before they start the Din Torah. When they're authorizing the Beis Din that's in front of them, they write down the names of the three Dayanim. As these three Dayanim,
they're accepting whatever
they do, and
by force. That's the difference between that and Peshara.
No. They're accepting whatever decision the Beis Din does. The Beis Din will decide if it's the Fasher or the Fadin or Peshara. They're just giving it up to the Beis Din. That document says that this document has the legal force, according to New York state law, or whatever state they are in, to be enforced as an arbitration agreement, which means that legally, if two parties have a dispute, they can go to lawyers or to other businessmen, and they are going to make the arbitration. For example, I understand certain banks or stock brokerage houses, when you sign up to, or certain insurance companies, when you sign up to do business with them, some of them, if you read closely, it says that any issues between them and the corporation will not go to court, will be by an arbitration panel. So they want themselves. Here you have so many companies, corporations, all providing services, and they're saying their services are provided pending if there's a dispute, conditional if there's a dispute, it's going to go to a certain arbitration panel and not to court. So arbitration is something that is acceptable. And every Bezdin, the legal, secular court power is that these three are also now sitting as an arbitration board to decide between them.
And
Now,
the Goyish court will enforce your
Goyish
decision?
court
will enforce your decision.
Will enforce the decision. There may be complications. I'm not saying that, but like in every arbitration, there may be.
The opposing lawyer won't challenge your decision?
He can challenge it, but generally,
It'll cost money.
the courts accept the arbitration agreement that was already signed by the parties, like they're going to accept any arbitration agreement in any business relationship.
I know there's a tshuva, I think from Nasha Klein, that he, or Moshe, I forgot who it was, that sometimes if a person is, if the date of the Din Torah, Rachel, put your hand down, shouldn't have. If the date of the Din Torah is not quick enough, he allows you to get a lien in court to stop. Is that to?
Yes, there are tshuvas achreinim who allow,
Just to put a hold.
yes.
So when is I know the Lefnei
So this
Arkois.
this is not called a din of arkois. They're putting a hold or a lien.
Just to put a hold.
They're not. The court is not deciding between them who is right and wrong. They're using the courts to put a hold. So
That you don't mind.
I am not saying an opinion. This you said Rabbi Menashe Klein says it so, and there are others before Menashe Klein who say this, that it's not considered going to arkois when you're putting
But Menashe Klein went as far as not even allowing you to go to the jury. You know that. He didn't even allow you to go as a jury.
the jury is a whole different.
That because it's showing his status in the Arkois.
Yeah, but today there's another
He
problem
asked
about
that.
jury. I don't want to talk about
Okay.
jury. I mean, the problem with jury is the Jews are not going, and they're being ended up judged by people who don't like Jews. And the argument on the other side of the argument could be that maybe if you'll be in a jury, which another yid will be there, and a bunch of goyim are ganging up on them. Jury duty is a decision which the people of the jury who are not necessarily educated or fair.
Yeah, but that.
Or moral.
What's the whole shaila if you're allowed to
I
participate
don't
or
know.
not?
If
Is
I would
the
be in a
shaila of
court
Arkois?
case, I would want you to be in the jury.
Yeah, but is it the shaila of Arkois? What's it? Yes or no? The yes or no decision if you're allowed to go, is that a shaila?
I'm not answering this. Ask your Rav about it. I'm just telling you that it's not so simple today about this thing.
All right.
But again, to putting a lien or a claim or a freeze onto certain monies until the Din Torah decides. So this is by some poskim not considered going to arkois because their arkois are not deciding who's right.
Could I tell you an interesting thing? I was sitting in Rabbi Shachat's house a couple of months ago, and we were discussing different, or we were on Skype. I think I was Skype. And it was right around Purim time. So he says, Nachman, mention schicken mir Shalach Manis. And then, for all I know, ich will sein a dying of their case.
Does he do the Din Torah? Doesn't he?
Sure, he doesn't.
Yeah?
In Toronto, there's a lot. Yevamon Gedoshtik.
Who's this? Ezra?
Reb David Shachat.
Reb David.
Yeah, Reb David Shachat.
Uh-huh.
So how does that work? So I'm asking you, Rabbi Winner.
So first of all, if he is the Rav of their community, so they should be sending him shlachmonas and also check along with the shlachmonas
Right.
and send him a ch- And this has nothing to do with.
How does that?
That is not, in the Gemara there are cases someone did a favor for someone else. It says Pasel Medina, they passed himself and being a dayan.
That's
for-
your choice. But that's your
The
choice.
the dayan should know when he should passel himself.
But
There's
could-
a Zayah, the Shalah brings it, that even if al pidin you're not passel, but if the other tzad
Once you
wants to
disqualify.
disqualify you, even if the other side is wrong, you should pass it yourself. And he says he used to do that always.
Right.
He used to pass himself, which can sometimes get complicated in today's day and age. But
Because if there's a small amount on the roster, if everybody keeps on disqualifying himself.
yes, sometimes there's a mitzvah to do
So let me
to step forward.
let's go weiter. Zablo. We spoke about it this morning. Please clarify the difference between dayonim and zablo, because zablo, how that borders not being an oyev to the party. I'm just clarifying. Obviously,
First of all, let's clarify bichlal what the zabla is. A Rosh Hashanah zeh boyer le'echad, which means the Baalei Din are choosing which dayan is going to be their.
not a lawyer. He cannot be a lawyer.
Yeah, is their dayan, so to say. Now,
Is that fair to say their dayan?
the dayan that they appointed, boyer le'echad literally means chosen.
Right.
Their chosen dayan. That could be said. Their chosen dayan.
But that dayan has to be fair to the other party
Okay,
too.
so the way that Rishonim speak about this is that the role of a dayan that was chosen by one side is still to be a dayan. It's also a dayan. He's a dayan. Which means that if he knows that the side that chose him, he knows that that side is wrong, he has to paskin that they're wrong.
Duh.
One minute.
Thing,
One minute.
Isn't that a chiddush? That's
One
a
minute.
chiddush for you?
So,
Is that a
well, you said dayan and then said zabla. So
Yeah,
I'm
but-
telling you that zabla is a dayan. But the only thing he has mitzaded b'schusa is the lashon Rishon,
Right.
which means that he has to look into the position, and into the position of the side that chose him, if he sees halachic justification for that position.
Shouldn't
So
a
no, he
regular
should
shouldn't a
focus on
regular
that.
dying do that?
Yes.
Shouldn't a regular, even if not the Zabulon?
Yeah, no, really, if there's a regular best and there's 3 dayanim who were not chosen by one party over another,
They should also do that.
they should also look at it. But since they are listening to both parties, the argument can be made that they're not going to focus to the end thoroughly on either. They'll focus as much as they can, but since they're focused on the case itself. But in a Zabla situation, the advantage is that since one was chosen by one side, he's supposed to look harder into one side. So in this way, both parties, it's Reuven and Shimon, are going to have a more focused insight as far as the Dayanim are concerned in their side. And then you have the third Dayan who's going to weigh everything and discuss it with all three. So it's generally the Zabla is a better way. The Gemara says the Zabla is a better way than having 3 Dayanim, because it's deeper and more thorough coverage of all the positions involved.
Before you learn the Gemara, you would think that every Bezdin would really be a Zabulon. Mitzadid l'schusay. Every Bezdin should really be.
Well, every Bezdin is, but
Etzim should be that
but
way.
we are all human and have a certain amount of brain power and focus, and
Chas v'shalom to say that the Tayan pays this Dayan and the Nitan pays that Dayan. It doesn't work that way.
no, the way it works is that they pay the Bezdin a fee,
Right. Because
a Bezdin a fee, and this is divided equally between the
because it can't be A pays this Dayan and B pays. It cannot be that way.
No, that would be Sheikhet.
Right.
Sheikhet is Zasha. Sheikhet is not necessarily a payment of bribery to make a deal with the dayan. I'll give you money if you're going to pass it in my favor. Sheikhet is any gift given to a dayan. As we said before, the Gemara brings in cases. Someone did him a favor of giving him a boat ride and so on. He says he parceled himself in being an intern, even though there was no deal made that you judged me favorably and so on. There's a big there is this self-appointed corrupt group in Borough Park a bunch of young, a group of young guys, one a bit nutty guy, came up with a whole movement that any Bezdin that takes charges for their services, that Bezdin's puzzle, and they're going to be free. They're going to sit down. Anyone comes to them, they're not going to charge them anything, and they're going to sit down and be done.
I'm sure they're quoting the Shulchan Aruch.
And according to Shulchan Aruch and according to Mishnah, that a dayan who gets schar is puzzle.
Dinei b'teila.
So this is what they're quoting, and the fact is that this group is making a major churban in the city because they're passing every real dayan since they're not paid for their time. So they sit down. They get 3 guys who sit down. They're going to sit down an hour, 2 hours to hit a side, and each side doesn't really feel that they get their real, so to say, day in court. And they're not masunim badin. The Mishnah says have a masunim badin. You have to take your time and analyze it. The parties don't feel that they spoke their whole heart out, presented all the details of their case, and they're making a judgment. First of all, their accusation about all botei din that they're possible because they're makabel schar. So the halacha is it's not new. It's a schar batola. A rov is not supposed to be paid.
Even
A
a
royal
roif
is not supposed to be paid. A roif is not supposed to be paid. But nevertheless, a malabed is not supposed to be paid. But nevertheless, the people who are doing these services for the community and for Klal Yisrael, if they're going to be busy with all everyone says, they don't have parnas, so no one's going to be a dayan. So therefore, the Torah halacha permitted schar batola, and these people are having a schar batola. That is the justification for this. The bigger churban over here is that people, this group. Is calling, so a person who doesn't want to spend any money goes to this group and they send the hazmana to somebody else. That person knows about this group, doesn't trust this group, says, I'm going to go to the Bezdin of Crown Heights, I'm going to go to the Bezdin of Nevardika Bezdin, or I'm going to go to the Bezdin of
Williamsburg, wherever.
Esachtas Rabbanon, all the Bati Dinim in New York or anywhere, or Muncie. And they... So this Bezdin passes all these Batei Din because they are paid. And these Batei Din can spend hours and hours and days on it until they come to a conclusion. And maybe sometimes there's an exaggeration of this. I'm not saying the Bezdin is a perfect world, but these guys are totally a disaster. They're self-appointed judges, self-appointed people. And what happens is, many cases, young guys, in many cases, what they do is, someone says, I'm not going to you, I'm only going to a proper Bezdin. So they give a heter to the other party,